You know when you're streaming a movie or jumping on a video call, your internet connection just kind of feels simple. It just works, right? But underneath all that seamlessness, there's this invisible layer of technology making it all possible. So today, let's pull back the curtain and see how your connection really works.
So, have you ever stopped to wonder how your phone and your laptop and your smart TV, how they all manage to share just one single internet connection? You've got one pipe coming into your house, but maybe a dozen different gadgets are all online at the same time. How is that even possible? It's a great question, and it gets us right to the heart of how the modern internet is actually built.
Well, the answer isn't magic, exactly. But it's a really, really clever trick. It's a piece of networking tech that pretty much all of us use every single day. Most of us without ever even realizing it.
Okay, so this trick is called Network Address Translation, or just NAT for short. What it does, essentially, is let a whole private network of your devices, each with its own little internal IP address, go out onto the public internet using just one single public IP address. I mean, this is the core technology that makes your home Wi-Fi possible in the first place.
Yeah, a really good way to think about your router is like a receptionist at a big office building. It takes all the outgoing requests from every single device in your house, right? And it sends them out to the internet using the company's one public mailing address. Then, when a reply comes back, that receptionist knows exactly which internal device, which office, to forward it to. It's a simple, pretty elegant solution. But what happens when that exact same trick gets used on a much, much larger scale?
And this is where it gets really interesting. What if I told you that your internet service provider, your ISP, is playing the exact same trick on you and on thousands of your neighbors, all at the same time? Yeah, there's another layer of this NAT stuff happening that you can't even see.
So this is what's known as carrier-grade NAT, or CGN. Now, instead of just the devices in your house sharing one address, your ISP is putting entire neighborhoods, maybe even whole towns, behind a single public IP address. They're doing precisely what your little home router does, but for a massive, massive population of customers.
So what you end up with is this NAT within a NAT situation. Think about it. Your computer's request gets translated by your home router, and then that request gets translated again by the ISP's giant router. This two-step process is sometimes called NAT 444. And, as you can probably guess, stacking these translations on top of each other, well, that's where the problems can start.
You know, the tech blog TerraQuant put it perfectly. They said it's like having too many chefs in the kitchen. One NAT device is totally fine, it does its job. But when you have two, they can start tripping over each other, creating all sorts of confusion and complicating what should be a really simple path for your data.
Okay, but hold on. If the second NAT layer is designed to be totally transparent, how in the world can we know it's even there, right? How do you find proof of a system that's supposed to be invisible? Well, researchers had to get pretty creative and start looking for clues in some, let's just say, unexpected places.
And the big breakthrough actually came from the BitTorrent network. Researchers started noticing that some computers on the network were accidentally, leaking their internal private IP addresses. And they had this brilliant idea. They realized they could analyze these leaks to basically map out the hidden network structures of the internet.
And this right here is what they found. It's pretty amazing. On the left, you're looking at what you'd expect from normal home networks, just a few isolated devices leaking their internal addresses. But on the right, whoa, that's the smoking gun. These are huge, dense clusters where tons of different users are all leaking addresses from the exact same massive private network. This is the visual proof, right here, of carrier-grade NAT in action. No doubt about it.
All right, so we've established that this invisible layer is real. It exists. But what does it actually mean for you, for me, for our everyday internet use? Let's dive into how this hidden infrastructure really affects us. First off, the scale of this is just enormous. Researchers found that over 90% of cellular networks, we're talking about your phone's internet connection, are sitting behind a carrier-grade NAT. It is practically everywhere in the mobile world.
And it's not just on your phone. For home internet connections, about 1 in 5 providers, that's nearly 20%, are also using carrier-grade NAT. This isn't some niche thing, it's a huge part of the internet's backbone.
Now this slide is really interesting because it shows us why this is happening. CGN deployment is highest in places like Asia and Europe. Why? Because they were the first regions to completely run out of the original IPv4 addresses.
And it's lowest in Africa, which is the only region that still has some left. So CGN is a direct reaction to the internet literally running out of addresses.
And that too many chefs in the kitchen problem, it leads to some really frustrating real-world issues that you've probably experienced yourself. You know, things like one-way audio on a video call, where you can hear them but they can't hear you, or getting kicked out of an online game because of connectivity issues, or just certain apps that just won't work right. These are all classic symptoms of being stuck behind a double NAT.
So one of the big technical reasons for all this is something called port scarcity. Okay, think of an IP address like your office building's street address. The ports are like the individual telephone extension numbers inside that building. Your ISP has to share a limited number of these extensions among all of its customers. And get this, some ISPs were found to give each home as few as 512. Now, when a single web page can use dozens of these connections at once, you can see how you'd run out of phone lines really, really quickly.
To get around this crazy maze, apps, especially things like video conferencing and online games, have to perform these complex gymnastics. They use special protocols like stun, turn, and ice just to try and figure out a path through all the layers of NAT to talk to each other directly. And when they can't, which happens a lot, they have to route all your data through a central server, which, you guessed it, adds lag and slows things down.
So why does all this technical stuff matter? I mean, who cares about ports and protocols? Well, it matters because it reveals this fundamental tension in how our internet is evolving. This is about a lot more than just a few dropped calls.
Think about it. When you have thousands of users all sharing one single IP address, what happens when one of those people sends spam or attacks a website? The entire group, thousands of innocent people, can get blacklisted. It totally breaks the systems that rely on IP addresses for reputation, for security, and even for something as simple as figuring out your location to give you local weather or news.
At the end of the day, carrier-grade NAT is a brilliant but massive patch. It's a coping mechanism for an internet that has completely outgrown its original design. Specifically, it's a workaround for the fact that we've run out of the original IPv4 addresses. With that well now totally dry, CGN is the clever and honestly necessary patch that keeps the old system chugging along, stretching its limited resources to connect billions of new devices.
And that leaves us with a final, really crucial question. As we look to the future, are we just going to keep adding more and more complex patches like this one on top of a crumbling foundation? Or are we finally going to make the move to a new system, like IPv6, that was actually designed for the massive scale of the modern world? The answer to that is going to define the internet for the next generation.